I have got a fever. And the only cure for this fever is body language mastery going down September 24th. Welcome to No Simp September, where even the crybaby losers, when they simp when a woman comes on the screen, no. Simpery is a high treason crime in the hot dude army. I am back. I am better than ever. I am better than your dork losers. I am recharged. I am large. And I am here to say that September 24th, baby, mark your calendars because it is going down. So we got our boy, and he's citing facts from a study, right? I can't believe he's this sloppy with how poorly he produced this data. And honestly, it's just like, you know, it's just, let's just watch this. Let's just watch. Okay, because he's a premier guy. I know, basically every video he makes is just a crybaby video. No self-improvement stuff, nothing. Just cry. It's very good. So let me just show you. I'm going to give you guys the understanding of the grift, okay? Whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god. AKA, because a lot of these guys, they have egos. They think they're better than they are, okay? They have massive egos, but they're losers in real life. So this incongruency makes them angry. Therefore, they created. So they're like, oh, I'm cool, and I'm superior to these women. They don't get it.
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. This is Joker. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about life satisfaction. I had my other video that I posted just a couple of videos ago about why being single is awesome and why it's the best. And oftentimes we, we talk and we talk about why people become unhappy and why the divorce rate's so high and why all these other statistics or these other stories that show people are just unhappy. And a lot of times we'll get people that come on here on my channel or on any of the other guys going their own way stuff, and they say, man, that's just you. You've been hurt, who hurt you. Well, this is a study that came out, and
so he's like, who hurt you, blah blah blah, like trying to make trying to make a case already off the bat, and then he's like, this is a study, this is real truth. And just pay attention to everything. There's a method to what I'm trying to show you guys here, because he doesn't know I have superior intelligence. So I have a background in psychology. Okay, I have my bachelor's in science in psychology, and for 3 years I read these psychological papers, and I know how to interpret the data. He doesn't. It's
about happiness and life satisfaction, and this is our world in data, and this is
our world in data. Our world.
This is a revision. They just had something that come out from 2017. It's a new revision. But I guess this is a pretty large statistical poll. I'll try to put...
I guess this is a pretty large statistical poll. I'm just going to let it play. Point number one, he says this is a very large statistical poll.
Put up some numbers here. I don't have them right in front of me, but this was self-reported life satisfaction, and they go through and they show kind of a map of how everybody reports themselves as how happy they are. But there was an interesting graph on here that caught my attention, and it's called the effect of life events on life satisfaction. In each individual plot, red lines mark corresponding point at any given time.
Right.
And so on and so forth. But let's look at the stats on here, because I want you guys to see this. So they ask people, how happy are you before an event happens, and then as it happens, and then after it happens. So they might ask somebody, how happy are you? Rate it from 1 to 10 or whatever, and they put out a number.
So I'm just going to give you the better explanation, because he really doesn't understand how statistics work and how these things are graphed out. So the 0 point here, okay, so every graph that you see on the screen, in the middle is a 0, and this is the point that the event occurs. So for example, here is unemployment, marriage, divorce, widowhood, birth of a child, layoff. Okay, and this is for women on the left hand side, and then men on the right hand side. Okay, as you can see, the data, this dashed line is kind of the average emotional point where they are when this occurs, right? This is like the happiness point, right? This is like the you know, just like when you're not feeling great, but you're not feeling you're not feeling terrible, you're like kind of just floating in the middle. That's what the baseline is, okay?
And the next year they'll do it again, and the next year they'll do it again. And then, you know, they might become unemployed and they'll get asked again. And then a year after they're on. So they ask these over the course of multiple years, and they plotted a graph on this. And this really caught my attention because I find it fascinating. Let's just look at the graph and we'll...
I find it fascinating, even though I interpret this data 100% incorrectly. I find it fascinating. Look at this guy, Joker, okay? Look at Coach Greg Adams, okay? Look at face and LMS, we just showed him. Dictionary doesn't even show his face, okay? All of these guys. Do you really think these dudes, between their complaining crybaby attitudes, their subpar physical appearance, because they don't look this good. They are not looking this good.
Take a look here. So when they ask women, we're not going to focus so much on unemployment. I mean, that's kind of...
God forbid you don't focus on unemployment, because you can't shit on your main demographic, which are all unemployed losers. God forbid we point out that.
You know, that's kind of a given. Same thing with layoff. I mean, people are usually, you know, not happy about being laid.
Again, let's not talk about layoff, because a lot of these guys never even had a job. They don't even know what a layoff is. They think a layoff is a competition.
Laid off. But what I want to focus on is on the women's side for marriage. Okay, and that's going to be the upper right graph here. If you look at it, you know, 4 years before marriage, they're a little less than average happiness. And then it starts going up, and it peaks when the year that they're married. And then if you notice, it goes right back down to as happy as they were before, which is just average. And as a matter of fact, on the 5th year after marriage, they're unhappier than average. Go over to the guy's side.
And so if you just look at this, just so you know, okay, so this is these numbers here. This is -4, -3, -2, number 1. Now, these are the years counting down to the 0 event, okay? This is the counting down to the event. Okay, so 4, 3, 2, 1, 5 years countdown, and then after the event. However, this is only a 10-year gap. It doesn't include longevity. Like, for example, his childbirth here. So they're assuming like your happiness as when the kid is 5 years old just stays the same. And he makes a point here saying like, oh, once you have kids, that's it, you're miserable.
For the 4 years or 5 years beforehand, they're happier. And then after marriage, 4 or 5 years after, they're back down to average again, right? And in many cases, if you look at the guy's side specifically, they were happier the 5 years leading up to marriage than they were the 5 years after marriage.
Of course, he's got to do that. They were happier the 4 years leading up to marriage. If I go into a bar and there's 2 guys at the bar, it's me and old Joker here. He definitely is a Joker, that's for sure. You know who the girls are coming and talking to. They're going to come talk to Big Daddy Rolex. They're going to come talk to me. This guy, they're going to come talk to me. They're going to point over this guy and make fun of him. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Now, maybe that's when they had a girlfriend and things were going really well. But it tells you what happens as soon as you say, I do. You don't. It's not any good anymore, right?
That's anything. Okay? That's anything in life. When you let's take going to the nightclub for an example, right? You're getting ready. You're like, oh, shit. Oh man, I'm looking so good. Got this fresh clothes on. I'm going to put on some Ultra Male by Jean Paul Gaultier. None of the guys know about that because it's like, 3 months of their salary, they got to get that. Put on the Jean Paul Gaultier, do some curls with the girls, chatting out, looking super good. You're pumped up. You're heading out there with your boys. You're in the Uber. Your intensity's going. Boom, you hit the nightclub. Now you're at the nightclub. Boom, peak, high feeling. You're drinking. You're having a good time. but then, everything kind of fades away. Like you don't just ride the high. What is he expecting? People just be like, I am happy. I am eternally happy, and every moment of my life is just this peak moment of happiness, and I am happy always, and I am so happy. Oh wow, look at this girl. Yeah, I've had sex with her 25 times, but the first time I had sex with her is just as great as the 30th time I've had sex with her. No, let's be honest. Dan Bilzerian talks about this when he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I completely understand with him. He's like, when he was broke and shit, he would go to Outback Steakhouse, right? And he would have Outback, and he would have, mashed potatoes, and he would have all these great things. And then he said, that used to be a 10 out of a 10 for him. But then he kept on going, and he realized, it wasn't that great. Then he started going to a more expensive steakhouse with a $500 dinner. And then after that, the experience kind of dwindled away. That's normal for life. Who gets married and just keeps on riding these highs?
So it's almost better to keep that short term or even longish term, but don't get married. Because, when you're in a relationship, and things are good, for example, like I
love how he's just stumbling his way through this sentence because he's it along. Listen, I'm pointing out little things right now that are statistical inaccuracies throughout his entire statements, but you're going to see we're going to watch the video, and then we're going to deep dive on the statistics, and you're going to see blatant misinterpretation of the data.
I'll use just a quick example from my life. I'm now a little bit overweight. Not lots. I should weigh about 145. I think I'm around 170. So
if he should weigh 145, he's a little bit of a manlet, right? I was thinking about that. If your weight that you should be is 145, that means he's like 5'5" or 5'6", because I'm 5'10", the champion's height. He's kind of a manlet. I think he's like 5'5", 5'6". Again, just another victim mindset.
So I'm about 25 pounds overweight, a little more than I want to be. When I was in a relationship and things were going well, we were both active. If I put on a couple of pounds, she'd tease me about it, vice versa. We kind of kept each other in check a little bit. If I got attitude or she got attitude, you put it in check. And if the other person says, this is the way I'm going to be, and if you don't like it, it's over, then you just end things, right? You just say, well, you're not the person that I fell for anymore. But once you get married, you can take all that for granted. You don't have to keep the other person happy with you. They're there. They're kind of trapped in many ways. So after you get married, if your spouse or you gain 10 pounds or 20 pounds or 30 pounds or 50 pounds, and the everything that the activity in the bedroom chamber goes away, there's nothing you can do about that. You're now trapped. There's nothing holding anybody accountable. But when you're single and you're not married, they're held accountable. Because then, or not single and not married, I should say, in a relationship and not married.
But guys, if you're relying on your woman to keep you accountable, you've already failed. Period. You have to understand that in a relationship, if a woman is the one keeping you accountable, you've already failed. The girls that are seeing me now, guess what they tell me? You think they tell me like, yeah, MLD, like you got to get those 15 pounds off. You think they're saying that? You know what Myron Gaines tells me every time we talk? He's like, when are you going to stop being so fat? I posted a picture the other day on Instagram. He's like, you shouldn't post that picture. You're too fat. That's a real friend. That's a real one. That's a real one right there. Okay? And that's the truth, man. So if you are relying on a woman to keep you accountable, once you start noticing her being upset with you, she's already got kind of one foot potentially out the door. Women don't voice their concern until you're basically, she's already considering dismissing you. They're tolerating it, okay? But if you get to the point where she's mentioning it, she's already somewhat fed up. Not somewhat, like probably 35, 40% fed up.
They're held accountable because if they start acting the fool, you just walk away, or they walk away, right? So you can see here, once you kind of say I do and everything's assumed and no one really has to try anymore, things go south. They go south hard. and everybody's less happy after marriage than they were beforehand. Now let's look at divorce, right? So the 4 years, 5 years leading up to divorce, both the women and the men are actually more unhappy leading up to the 5 years before, but both of them are unhappy. And then the year of their divorce, they're both back to average again.
Duh.
And then the men are immediately happy for the next 5 years, and the women slowly get there. It takes them 2-3 years, but eventually they're happier after the divorce. But both of them are unhappy. And then the year of their divorce, they're both back to average again. And then the men are immediately happy for the next 5 years. The women slowly get there. It takes them 2-3 years, but eventually they're happier after the divorce. What about widowed? Well, you can see both lines, man, going up when your spouse is sick, they're not doing too well. The year that they die, that's a bad year. But both bounce back. It takes the guys a little bit longer to bounce back than the women, but both bounce. And then the men are immediately happy for the next 5 years, and the women slowly get there. It takes them 2-3 years, but eventually they're happier after the divorce. What about widowed? Well, you can see both lines, man, going up when your spouse is, they're not doing too well. The year that they die, that's a bad year. But both bounce back. It takes the guys a little bit longer to bounce back than the women, but both bounce back. In many cases, if you look at it, they're happier than they were when they were married. They're happier now that their spouse is gone, right? Look at birth of a child.
Again, so he's saying they're happier now that look at the happiness level. There's only maybe one marker of difference here. This one's about a -3. This is about a 3. And then the men's is looks like it's just south of the 4. It's like a 3.75. So he's just inflating the stats. Why? To make himself look and feel better.
Same thing. It's excitement right up to it. We're planning it. We have one. And then both are unhappy. And this goes 5 years after. So this is when the child's 5 years old. It's out of diapers. It's out of the young stages. What's this all mean? When I was growing up, and many of us were growing up, we're often told, hey, grow up, go to college, or get a good paying job, find that special somebody, get married, have kids, grow old together. No one's happy after that happens anymore. Everybody likes being single. Everybody likes not being married, not having kids. And you can say, hey, that's what I want. I've seen some posts by some younger guys saying, man, I still want a family. I still want to have kids someday. Well, this is kind of the average of everyone. I mean, this is a world poll. And
this is kind of the average of everyone. This is a world poll. Well, let's see how long it takes me to debunk that. So he says, being single and not having children, everything makes you happier. Yeah, right, dude. I see old men and old women with lamentations, bro, crying, lamenting, upset that they have wasted their life because they have no children. Let's take a deep dive, though. How do common life events affect happiness? Do people tend to adapt to common life events by converging back to a baseline of happiness? Clark et al. 2008 uses data from the German socioeconomic panel to identify groups of people experiencing significant life and labor market events and trace how these events affect the evolution of their life satisfaction. But I thought this was a global survey. Let's click on the 17 to take us to our cited source. Okay, 17's at the bottom here. So you go down to the bottom of the paper, you look for number 17, and then you see Clark A, E. Diner, Georges Lucas, 2008, lags and leads in the life and satisfaction, a tested baseline happiness. The Economic Journal, 118. So what you do is you take this, right? I know, dude, you know what? I know, doing some work here, it's tough, but hey, that's what the guys don't like to do. Okay. Now, of course, nobody wants to do this work. Nobody wants to do the work. Nobody wants to do the research. They just want to do surface level, look at things and be like, yep, that's what I choose to believe in. I'm upset. But I, with my superior intelligence, decided to do a little digging because I smelled, and as always, the nose of the high commander is a strong one. So let me just show you. So remember, this is a world survey. Let me just show you this, okay? The introduction is here. And then previous literature is there, paragraph 2. Methodology and data. The empirical work is based upon data from the first 20 waves of West German subsample of the GSOEP, which is the German socioeconomic poll. I forget things. What is it called? The I'm making Donovan Sharp noises. German socioeconomic panel. Okay. So the German socioeconomic panel spanning the period of 1984 to 2003. Guys, could I just get a wait a minute? Okay, when was this video posted? Oh, December 4th, 2019. Oh, okay. So there's just a 16-year gap in the data. Just a 16-year gap. One high school student worth of data missing. I mean, things may have changed or changed. I don't know. But this is a global poll, right? Because the data, okay, let's say the data is old, but it's a global poll. Okay, so let's just see. I'm a dummy. This is actually literally what I did, because I don't have a fucking ego. I mean, I didn't know what the GSOP was. So then I typed it here. GSOP, what's that? Okay, let's open this. Okay. Oh, the German Socioeconomic Panel is a longitudinal survey. Longitudinal means it's long-term study of approximately 11,000 private households in the Federal Republic of Germany from 1984 to 2018. Now, again, it does say up to 2018 here, but the study is talking about the data they pulled it from was 1984 to 2003. Okay, they currently have data up to 2018. Okay, but because, you know, obviously it was released in 2020. But again, he's saying this is a global poll. This is only data from Germany. This isn't even for Americans. The cultural differences between the United States and Germany are massive. He says this is a large survey size. Huge survey size. This data is irrefutable. I know how to find out exactly if this data has a large sample size or a small sample size. All I need to do is just do a little thing called work. Most people, they don't want to debunk anything. They just want to believe it on the surface level. Let me know how those results are going out for all these guys. If the way, why are these guys all so angry and miserable and unhappy? Huh? Can someone break it down for me? Because I certainly can't. Oh, wait. No, I can't. They're living a lie.